Welcome to Interview Combat. Swords clashing, cling, 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 guns. It's going off. I don't have graphics, so I'm just improving all that. Hey, I'm GM Jim, and I'm here today with Stephanie. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Stephanie. My channel is Stephanie Plays Games. I just talk a lot about D&D and all of the ideas I have and things I want to tinker with so that people around me aren't annoyed as heck by me every day. Out here annoying you instead.
Okay, all right, I can take it. I can take it. So this is Interview Combat. It's an interview show, but it ain't your daddy's interview show. We do things a little differently here. Stephanie and I are going to roll contested D20 checks. She is going to roll hers with a +1 because it's her first year of YouTubing, so she gets +1 bonus to her rolls. If I win the roll, Stephanie gets a hard hitting journalistic question. If Stephanie wins the roll, she gets a soft question. And so I think we're ready to go for our first contested roll. Let's see, Stephanie, you need to beat a 11.
Let's go. Oh, historically low roller me.
There we go. All right, so here comes your first hard question. Some TTRPGs have faced backlash for their portrayal of sensitive topics like mental health, trauma, and violence. How do you strike a balance between addressing these themes and providing engaging content?
So I think it's really hard because I do think you have to be sensitive about your portrayal. And so I think a lot of I don't know if I have seen games necessarily not do this well. I'm probably not aware of ones that may have not done this well because I think a lot of people have a tendency to make games about things they have personally struggled with or topics that they don't just know nothing about. So I do think that's an important aspect of making games that have stronger emotional content. But I do think it's also important to remember that, like, if you're uncomfortable with topics, you don't have to play these games. If you aren't comfortable with the tale of Bluebeard's Bride, like, maybe don't play a TTRPG revolving around exploring the themes of stories like that. Like, I think it's great to have tasteful content out there for those of us who do like to explore through stories kind of our emotions or things we've been through. And I don't think that's for everyone, but I think a big part of it is kind of being respectful of people and what they've been through.
Sure, well said. All right, moving along. Let's go again. Stephanie, you need to beat 14, and you did.
I did it!
Congratulations. So here comes your first softball question. What makes a good tabletop game player?
Oh, a player. I think I think a good player is someone who is really earnest to just try their best. I think it's an earnestness to commit. I think it's people who aren't afraid to either be silly or be emotional if that's what a game calls for. I really like that sense of earnestness in people. So I think that's really the top quality I look for in a player. I'm so sorry, my dog is barking. She's deaf.
Oh, that's okay. I can barely hear her. It's no
Okay.
problem. I hope she's okay.
She is. Someone just came to drop off like a package.
No, good girl. She's protecting the house.
She
Good for
is.
her. Good girl. I never get when people yell at their dogs when they bark at strangers. I'm like, the dog's doing their job.
Yeah, she's
That's
definitely a good watchdog, and she's a little pity. She's the sweetest thing. She'd never bite anyone, but she sounds like she would.
I love pit bulls.
Me too.
Absolutely love. They're the best dogs. Um, all right. I think we're ready to go again. So this time you need to beat that's a 6, which you handily did with your 19.
Where were these against my players an hour ago?
You were coming on strong now. Um, do you have a favorite tabletop monster or NPC?
That is a great question. I, in particular, can I pick two?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I really, really love hags. I'm big into folklore, especially like kind of like Celtic and Nordic folklore. So hags have always held a special place in my heart. And I think they're really terrifying in that they can be friendly and nice and help you, but they're so strong and so like just the fey flavor of them is always perfect. But I also really love Kuatoa, and I got to talk to them about them a little bit for one of my Kraken Week adventure ideas. But I love the fact that if they believe hard enough, they can create gods. Like, that is one of the most terrifying concepts. And I never remember how to say it. I say it different every time, but I always say like blibbity bloop, like bibbity bobbity boop.
Doodle boop.
Yeah,
I know the word. I can't say it either.
yeah, right. I'm like, I can see it. I can see it in my brain. Every time it's a little bit different, but like, I love that flavor context. Like, it's so Lovecraftian, and I always just like want to run away and like make 1,000 stories about them.
Did you play Baldur's Gate 3?
I did not have a computer at the time that could run it. Mine probably can now. I just got it like a couple weeks ago, but I've missed out on all of it. Are there Kuatoa in there?
Are there? I think so, but I was actually thinking about the hag, because I've run hags and played against hags in D&D, and never really felt that kind of intensity that you were describing. But in Baldur's Gate 3, I did, because there is a hag, and it is a terrifying creature.
Okay, I'll have to look up clips on it. I'll find someone's actual play or something.
Yeah, because of course, first this hag presents as a sweet little grandma, as an NPC, and then you get suckered into working for this person, or you may get suckered into working for this person. Then it goes bad, and it is a very terrifying fight.
That's it. They're my favorite. I always give, anytime I run Feywild stuff, I give my players an option to play Hexbloods, like secretly sitting there being like, please, 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 please. I'm like, let me make more hag stories.
Nice. All right, I think we're ready to go again. So this time, only a 7.
Okay, let's do this.
Oh. All right, here. I am gonna it's next on the list, so I am gonna hit you with the super hard question.
Okay.
Do you think that Wizards of the Coast is a good shepherd of the D&D brand?
So, I'm gonna give this disclaimer that I am very new to not just YouTube, but also to TTRPGs.
Okay.
I've only been playing D&D for about 2 years. I kind of started playing right before they like kind of blew up things with the fan base a little bit.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm gonna say meh, because which is kind of a non-answer. I think I'd actually, if you make me choose, I'm gonna say yes, in that they haven't wrecked it so badly that they're not making games anymore, because I don't know how bad of a steward of the brand they can be, because I don't know how brandable D&D is in the first place. Like, there's obviously, like, they have like their named things, like, okay, we have Faerun, we have all these places, but in the end, everyone's individual game is so different at their table that I don't know how much of the game of imagination you can own and be a steward of. So much of it comes from us as individuals, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that's a weird answer to that.
No, I think that's there's a lot of wisdom in that. I think there's a lot of truth in that. Out of the mouths of TTRPG babes.
Yeah, they can totally redo Strahd tomorrow and make it terrible, but I can still run Curse of Strahd however I want.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I do agree with a lot of that. Let's go again. We are cooking through these questions. This time, oh, that was almost a nat 20. You got a nat 20.
I have the nat 20.
Too bad I don't have fireworks graphics to go off right here to celebrate your nat 20.
I know I
see.
never get these as a player, as a GM. Historically, very low roller.
All right. This question is it's on the soft list, but it might be kind of a hard question. I guess it just depends on how you're going to look at it. What do you believe sets your TTRPG YouTube channel apart from others in the community? What
Uh,
unique perspective or content do you bring to your audience?
I think one of the unique parts is definitely that I am newer and I'm not really afraid to admit that. I think that gives me a lot of leeway in exploring things and being like, haha, this didn't work, as opposed to people who are trying to position themselves as experts on the matter. And I also have really been trying to capture a conversational tone. Like, I love the feeling of just sitting around with other friends who GM, getting to talk to them about things you're trying, crazy things your players did. So I'm really trying to capture that sitting with a friend quality when I talk about things. So I think those are my strengths right now, at least.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for not having your brain poisoned with 30 years of different D&D editions.
I wish I did.
Well, yeah, I mean, all that stuff's still out there. You can go read it if you want, but
Oh, I do
you
all
know,
the time. I've already read through all of 4E. Like, I love, that's the thing, is as soon as I started playing, within 2 weeks, I found like a local TTRPG group. I started playing one shots and tons of systems. I started picking up games just to read. But
nice.
I'm like, I am so sad that I didn't play this when I was younger. I didn't have.
Mm.
I'm also not, because it would have been a group I would have been unhappy with. I would have been at like D&D horror story post, but it crushes me knowing that I could have had so much more time getting to do this.
Or maybe the game came to you when you were ready.
That is true. There is the fate aspect, but I'm
No, it's
totally
sweet.
obsessed with TTRPGs. So
I get you. I am too. I eat, sleep, and breathe.
yeah,
Tabletop
so my
role-playing
partner
games.
is probably always very irritated. That's what I want to talk about 80% of the time.
Oh well, they love you. They gotta love your hobbies.
Yeah.
That's how it works. All right, here we're ready to go again. This
Sorry.
time, I've got a nat 20. I can feel it. Oh wait, hold on. Stand by.
We'll see.
I gotta refresh my page here. It's not.
I don't know.
Some
That's a
technical
good sign for your
difficulties.
top 20. The universe saying, don't even bother.
Can't get this to. Well, you know what? My dice roller doesn't seem to be working.
No.
Tell you what, do you have you have? Tell you what, I'm just gonna roll here at my desk while I try to figure this out. That's a 5.
Okay.
You can roll in
Let's-
the chat room if you want, or you can roll at your desk.
Okay. Well, we'll see if mine works. Okay, a 16. I'll take that one. If you want my other one, it was a 2 on my physical dice.
We'll take the 16. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you this question and do a little bit of troubleshooting while you're talking. But what makes a good tabletop GM?
So I think that prioritizing fun, in my opinion, is the most important thing. And I don't mean fun only for the players. Like, I do think it is important that the GM is also enjoying themselves. But I think my approach, at least, to playing these games is like, it's kind of like having a dinner party with your friends. Like, you don't invite people over and be like, these are all of the foods I love. Sorry you hate it. Sorry you're having a bad time. We're going to listen to this music. You don't invite people over in any other circumstance and act like a dictator. So I think prioritizing enjoyment of time together is the most important thing. And that looks different to every group. So I think as long as everyone's having a blast, that's really what's most important.
Yeah, that's well said. That works for me. As soon as you started talking, my dice roller started working again.
Hey, did you get your 20?
That was all I really needed to do. So, next question. Now you need to. Oh, okay, of course.
You got the first part of what you wanted.
You rolled over my die. Did you see that?
I did. It's pretty amazing. It's
How did
kind
that
of
happen?
awesome like that.
What do you like to play when you're not doing TTRPGs? Are you into board games or certain video games?
Everything. Uh, so
Everything.
I am someone who just has a tendency to like things. I do a lot of board gaming. I really like things like Scythe. I like strategy board games a lot. Dune, things like that are definitely high on my list. I also like a lot of like social deduction games if I'm with friends. But I play video games less because I have terrible ADHD and I will spend an entire day accidentally playing them. But I am someone who likes cozy games a lot now. I used to kind of roll my eyes a little bit, but Stardew Valley and Ooblets feel really, really nice sometimes when you're just tired and don't want to do other things and you don't have the brain power to read or follow like a really good TV show. Just want to like zone out. Like it feels good. I love cozy games.
Yeah, I hear you. You said you like social deduction games. Have you played Blood on the Clock Tower?
No, but I'm gonna watch this video again and I'm like, I don't have to write this down.
Yeah,
No,
I haven't played it either, but it was a big hot thing a couple years ago. That it's sort of like Mafia or Werewolf.
Yeah.
It's more like a murder mystery, and I don't know. Shut Up and Sit Down reviews said it was one of their favorite games of all time. I've been trying to find somebody who's played it who can tell me what they thought of it.
Man. Yeah, I'm trying to think of this one I really, really like. I'm blanking on the name. Like, you're a group of investigators. One person is actually the person that like committed a crime, and you have these little like icons in front of you for like a murder weapon and a probable cause, and you have to like root out who it is because one other person knows who did it and like gets to like adjudicate whether you got it. And it's killing me. It is one of the best games, but it's not that popular, and I'm gonna have to look it up and send it to you later because it's killing me.
So it's not Clue,
this is really how many board games I play, is that I play enough. One of my friends collects them. There's like ones we've never even gotten to. So I play a truly absurd amount of board games.
Yeah, no, I get that. I have some board games in my closet that are still in the shrink wrap because I saw a YouTube video where they talked about how awesome something was, and I was like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to find people to play with, and then, it just never happens.
Yeah, especially I feel like post-pandemic, that happened a lot. I had like so many things where I'm like, okay, we're trying this and this and this. And then I was like, and I guess this goes to the closet.
Yeah.
So board games are definitely a big hobby. I also do a lot of watercolor. I take pottery classes. Nice. Stuff in the corners. I like everything. I will try almost anything at least once.
That's a really amazing quality to have, to like everything. Because you can never be bored if you like everything.
Actually think I'm scarred from my mom. As a child, she did not allow me to be bored. If I said I was bored, I had to go like scrub the grout with a toothbrush. So I think I've only been bored twice in my life.
Sure. Yeah, I would learn that lesson pretty quickly too, I think.
Yeah. That you created a child with ADHD.
All right, let's go again. And this time you need to beat, that is 12.
Oh!
And with your plus one, it meets it, beats it. Here comes another soft question. How did you get into YouTubing?
I literally started my YouTube channel because I didn't want to annoy everyone with how much I like talking about TTRPGs. I was concerned when I started because it's really like, what can you add to a conversation? And then I realized I didn't really need to necessarily add things, and I could just start and see if anyone cared about watching. So no, it literally I started it because I just love TTRPGs. It's just I just can't get enough. I really like being part of this community and getting to talk to other people who feel the same way. And yeah, no, it's literally that simple.
Yeah. Stephanie and I were both part of Kraken Week this year, which I thought was a really amazing experience. Just to be in the same room with people like Pointy Hat and Ginny D, Bob World Builder, D&D Shorts. Though he didn't chime in too often. He's probably pretty busy, but just
Yeah,
to be in the same room with those people was pretty awesome.
yeah, it was really, really neat that they put that together because I was at that point still nervous to talk to people to do things like this. And it just opened a lot of doors because that is one of the things I like the best about doing things like this is the community and getting to talk to people. Even if it's just commenters being like, oh yeah, like I played a goblin character like this. Like I love hearing about it. So
Yeah, getting to see people away from their channels is pretty amazing. Like learning that Ginny D swears like a sailor because she's so
I
bright and
called
shiny
it.
on her channel.
I'm like, I like sees like. I
Yeah.
wear dresses 90% of the time. I swear like a sailor. The ones you think are least likely to are the ones that it's opposites.
She keeps it pretty PG on her channel, but seeing her actually in real life was very much it was very eye-opening.
Yeah, for sure. I loved it. I was excited. I like to do a vibe check. I'm like, I can call these things. So I really like that bias confirmation that I got there.
Nice. All right, let's go again. We've got time for a couple more, I think, here. Come on. Oh, 19.
Whoa.
What are you going to do with that?
Oh.
You're going to get a hard question. That's what's going to happen. Okay, this is interesting. As a content creator, how do you handle criticism and differing opinions from viewers, especially when it comes to controversial topics within TTRPGs? AKA, do you read the comments?
I do read the comments, and I think it's one of those things where it's really, I have the weirdest view. So I'm a human being. If people say weird things, I think eventually it might hurt. But I was actually talking to Ryan of Virgin Table about this. I have a really hard time imagining that the person leaving mean or criticizing comments. So far, my criticism has largely been just someone saying things that aren't nice. I have a hard time imagining them as a real person through the screen, and it kind of works the same way for compliments. I try harder to put like a face there and see it and feel the nice warm fuzzies, but someone who is on the other side of the screen saying mean things, who doesn't have a channel, who doesn't have a picture of themselves on their profile, it's really hard for me to take mean things seriously. But constructive criticism, like, yeah, on some of my videos, my sound has sucked. Like, I actually had the microphone facing the wrong way sometimes. I learned that. I got better because I'm like, what can I do about sound quality? How do I check this? So I do think some criticisms make sense. And there are some things where someone has phrased something like, oh, like this didn't work for me because XYZ, and I could totally see where it wouldn't work for them. So I don't back away from legitimate, kind-hearted criticism. Like, I think that's how we grow as people, because it's okay to get something wrong or to not be perfect. But for people who are just being jerks, they're not real. They're a weird internet robot 123. Like, it means at this point, like I said, I'm a human being. Who knows if it's like 500 people being like, I hate your voice, Stephanie. That might get to me maybe. But it's hard to also say something at this point as an adult, like, that no one's ever said to me before, you know? Like, it's like, you survived teenagehood. Like, teenagers are jerks. Like, there's not really new things people can say to hurt my feelings through a screen.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah.
Especially, like, I think it's as a woman on YouTube, people are going to kind of try to hit below the belt on things. And it's something as a woman on YouTube, you think about that before starting a channel. And I feel like guys get a lot of the same things too, honestly. Like I've seen people leave weird comments on guys' physicality. I just think as a woman, sometimes you're not as prepared. And so I do think that's something you have to fortify yourself if you want to be more in the public eye. It's just reality, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't, but it is.
But it is, yeah. All right, I think we got time for one more here. So here comes my first nat 20. Here it comes. Nope, that is a no.
Hey, still higher.
Still beat you. All right. We already asked that one. Okay. How do you approach inclusivity and representation in both your content and the games you play?
So part of it is easier because in some ways I am already an outlier a little bit. It's I do think women are like up to 40% of people in games now, according to D&D Beyond. So that's like a bigger chunk. I'm not sure where they get the number and everything, so don't quote me on it. But I am a woman, I am queer, I'm already a big chunk of things. So I think there's some ways in which that worldview, like there's not as many assumptions about who's playing built in. So I'm able to explore topics a little bit more freely in some ways because I do make up parts of these groups. But as for games, I really try my hardest to find those players who might not feel welcome the exact same way I used to feel not welcomed at a table. So like my game that I ran right before this is actually a group of people from my pottery class, and it's mostly women. And it's also non-binary people. So I go and actively kind of seek out people to convert to TTRPGs.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's what I just think, that there's something for everyone, even if it's not D&D. It's like, okay, like, do you want to play Bluebeard's Bride? Do you want to play Heckin' Good Doggos? Like, there's so many games that it's really hard for me to take no, I have no interest as an answer. But yeah, no, that's what I just think. It's being mindful of, at least in real life, of people who aren't going to be someone like me who's like, hey, I want to try this. A lot of people aren't like that and are nervous. And, I try to make it approachable. And that's what I try to do in my content, is be like, hey, play with this. Like, it's okay. Like, try this thing. It might not work. Who cares? It's a game.
Yeah, I think that theoretically, this hobby is wide enough to accommodate everyone and anyone. And the only people that we shouldn't accommodate are the people who say that it's not wide enough to accommodate anyone. Those people need to go.
Yeah.
to make room for the anyone and everyone else who believes that they do belong here or could see themselves belonging here.
Yeah, and that's what I do think. That's actually probably like one of those subconscious things that contributed to me starting a channel, is like seeing Ginny D's channel when I started playing early on, like really kind of gave me the courage to jump in and to not be afraid of like messing up character creation, of not like, being afraid to go DM a game. There was just enough advice and also like encouragement from people that I could see that were like me, because it is also a thing. It's like, I'm not as nerdy presenting. Like, I'm a huge nerd, but I'm not the type of nerd where I have things memorized about all of these video games. I'm like, I just like to play games. I like to read books. I'm not a memorization nerd. So a lot of times in classic like nerd settings, I kind of feel awkward. And so seeing people like me is one of those things that has definitely like contributed to me feeling comfortable.
Awesome.
So I want to make other people feel as comfortable as possible, because it is hard. And that's what like I really do think a lot of spaces are doing a good job in modern days. And I think those like loud, angry voices get like quieter and quieter as we shove them out.
Let's hope so. Yeah, I think we're at about time. I think we made some good ground today. I think we accomplished what we set out to do. There was some great stuff in there. Stephanie, why don't you shout out who you are and where people can find you on the internets?
I am Stephanie at Stephanie Plays Games, keeping it simple. You can mostly find me on YouTube. I do have not so often use Twitter, not so often use Instagram. YouTube is really the best place to find me. But yeah, no, this has been great. I really appreciate you inviting me on.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching, and we're going to get out of here, and we'll see you soon.